Okay, we're live now. Good morning. Welcome to B Cube Sunday morning. It is going to be a spectacular Father's Day experience here. I guess I'm told that all the people involved are fathers, and so if they get interrupted and told to go back to bed, so somebody can give them burnt toast and stiff eggs, then that's just what's going to happen. I have a dog that is come here, puppy. Oh, I
The
have
dog
four.
wants his father.
Oh yeah. Well, what it is? Come here, Knox. Come say hello. Okay, don't say hello. I have a big 80-pound coonhound, and all the other dogs are little. I can tell when the coonhound walks in the room because every other dog starts to bark at him, like he's there to steal theirs. And the only thing this dog will steal is their food and their bed, and possibly and I mean shit. And when you're a dog, what more do you have than food and your bed?
You can steal people's affection. Sorry.
Well, he's a master at that. He will go up there and anybody ever had a big dog? You guys got big dogs? You got dogs?
I wish I had, but my wife is like, no way.
I'm sorry. Well,
no, she loves dogs, but she's like, I'm going to end up having to take care of it, so no.
So
my niece's dog often stays at my place.
Oh, well, you see, that's joy. Dogs are the reason humanity has survived, because we have somebody who loves us unconditionally that we can care about, and at the same time, we don't have to buy them clothes. Unless you want to buy your dog clothes, at which time I will not judge you.
I will judge you.
Well, Cliff will, but hey,
violently.
When I take Puppy to breakfast on Christmas or around Christmas, she has the cutest little Christmas dress that she wears, and people love her.
Okay, that's okay. Special occasions are okay.
Yeah. So
also,
anyway,
costumes for Halloween.
Yeah, and it's Father's Day, guys. So our dogs are our children, and they look up to us. So we must appreciate that.
That's because we're taller than they are.
We are taller than they are. And so that said, here at B Cube, we're still working away on our next project, American Storm. It is so much fun to be able to do the work we're getting to do and stuff, but it is so intimidating to pull up the story by I pick on Harry for it by Harry Turtledove, a great space guy, and say, oh my God, should I recommend that he touch that comma? No, it's a Harry Turtledove comma. Leave it alone. So,
is that like an Oxford comma, only in an alternate history?
Well, no, the Oxford comma is a sacred comma. With thou shalt not touch the Oxford comma. It is given to us from the gods of Oxford, and they knew what they were doing. And so to do that, may the M dash fall upon your head if you even think about it. But that said, it's a great day. I'm sitting here looking out my security system camera displays and see that the world is green and light breeze and beautiful. And I'm stuck in here. But the good thing about being stuck in here is I'm stuck here with two really intensely cool scientists. And Cliff, why don't we get off my meanderings?
And me. Yeah. Two intensely cool scientists
and
Cliff.
About Cliff before the show.
Was there a comma in that?
There was. There was a hairy
Comma
turtle
and
dove.
Cliff.
All right. So,
sorry.
first of all, yeah, everyone here in live on Restream is in fact a father. So happy Father's Day, Russ and Orkan.
Thank you.
And Bob, who just vanished but is still here.
And you as well, Cliff.
Thank you. Thank you. And Bob is still here in his supervillain lair, watching the beautiful greenery through his security system, and watching us. And Bob watches all. All right. So I have a special treat for you all today out there in Restream television land. I have two scientists from NASA Ames. They're both planetary scientists, and we are going to talk about past and mostly forthcoming planetary science missions at NASA. So first off, to my left is Dr. Ruslan Belikov, and he is the head of Exoplanet Technologies group at NASA Ames, which has developed several new technologies in high contrast imaging. Russ is currently leading technology development efforts to improve coronagraphic performance. He'll talk about that in single as well as binary star systems, and is a member of the Habitable Worlds Observatory Project Office. He also participated in several coronagraphic mission concepts or related efforts, and several of those he can talk about, and led a small explorer mission proposal called ACESat, a mission to directly image planets around Alpha Centauri. Dr. Orkan Umurhan is a planetary physicist and applied mathematician whose work connects turbulence, planet formation, and the geophysical evolution of icy worlds like Pluto. He is also at the SETI Institute, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence in Mountain View. Both NASA Ames and SETI Institute are in Mountain View, pretty much slingshot distance from one another, or catapult distance if they were not on such good terms. So it's convenient for scientists who want to work at both, of which there are a number. Orkan studies physical processes ranging from the turbulent origins of planetesimals in protoplanetary disks to volatile ice glaciation and surface evolution on Pluto. He joined NASA's New Horizons mission as a science affiliate in 2014 and later became a co-investigator. We're going to talk a little bit about that. His public work includes science communication like this, and in community engagement, including participation in the Black Rock Observatory, which brings astronomy and planetary science to the Burning Man community. I forgot you're a burner. I've also been to Burning Man with my wife, who did medical work there before he had kids. He's also active in, outside of work, Food Not Bombs, helping bring food and groceries to unhoused people and indigent encampments across the Bay Area. His broader community life reflects a connection between science, art, teaching, public engagement, and practical forms of civic care. Thank you, Russ and Orkan, for appearing here with us today on B Cubed Sunday morning. Let us begin by talking about what is your favorite thing that you have done at NASA so far? Why don't we talk about that? And then in the process, you could say a little bit about what a planetary scientist is, and like what distinguishes NASA Ames from, say, JPL or Houston or whatever other parts of NASA.
That's a good series of questions.
Yeah. It is a series of questions.
You want to go first?
Sure.
Or I can give you a minute more to think and talk about Moonjoy, because everyone has. I was a very, very small child during the Apollo missions, but I remember how culturally significant they were. And Artemis, although nothing I think is as monolithic as Apollo was, Artemis still captured a lot of public imagination. And it was done with NASA rockets and 3 NASA astronauts and 1 Canadian astronaut, and Artemis 2 at any rate. And I know NASA Ames has not Artemis project, but I was wondering what you guys thought about that, and then we can start in on NASA Ames. I mean, I showed it to my kids. We watched the launch. We watched them, I watched them going around the moon and all of that, and I'm excited for Artemis 3 and, returning to new places returning to the moon, but going to new places we hadn't been before, because all of the places
absolutely.
we went to the moon were like in the middle of the side that faces the Earth, and this is going to be more polar. And anyway,
Want to go first?
Sure. Yeah. So, Cliff, you want me to comment on Artemis first?
why don't we start? I should have started with the softball subject.
Yes. So I'm all over the moon on Artemis. I'm a lifelong space nerd. I got into astronomy and space because I was inspired as a kid by and awed even by the night sky and space and all of that. Some of your viewers may remember from last time I grew up in the Soviet Union, and which kind of and maybe brainwashed about some things, but one silver lining is that they really instilled in us the feeling of glory of space exploration.
So were the cosmonauts rock stars like the astronauts here?
Yes, even more so. I would say, like, Yuri Gagarin was a national hero. I would say even more than like Neil Armstrong and a lot of the American astronauts were. So yeah, I'm all my life I was hoping and expecting that humanity will expand out into the stars and go to the moon and Mars and beyond. And finally, I'm starting to see that happen again, and I'm thrilled about that. So, I mean, we have a lot of challenges on Earth, of course, and those shouldn't trivialize that. But there's also this great and inspirational effort that humanity is doing to go beyond, which I think is amazing.
Orkan?
Yeah, I rarely I can reflect Russ's kind of sentiments there. I mean, my intro to this was, I think I was 8, and Star Wars came out. Okay, and I went with my dad, bless his soul, to the moon. We stood in line. This is in L.A., Westwood, and I sat there in the opening scene. And this opening scene where you see this, this destroyers chasing and then it's the planetary atmosphere, and my mind just blew up. And I remember looking to my dad. He's like, "Is that real?" And he's like, "Well, no, it's a movie, but yeah, that's what a planet would look like if you were." And it was that moment I was like, "Oh my God, I need to do this. I need to understand this. I want to." And then it just kind of it was it's kind of like a tumble into being a space nerd. And then very soon afterwards, Cosmos came out, and the whole the Pioneer missions had just, people were starting to understand what was going on with that, and then Voyager and so forth. But by the time I'm 11, I'm like the local expert.
Nice.
So for me, it was that. Sure. And so going to the moon, I mean, that's it was a hard sell to say, "Hey, we shouldn't go. We need to go back." All of that stuff. And it's too bad that it took so long for us to get, but maybe it was the right thing for it to take as long as it did, because we went to all these other places as well. So
we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
So, Russ, what's your favorite project you've worked at NASA Ames so far? And
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about like what you do with coronagraphs and things like that.
Yes. So, yes, let me cover the first thing. My favorite project, and I think your first question was, what is the most impactful thing or my favorite thing that I've done at NASA? So I would say that I'm going to cheat a little bit and say it's not any one specific like single thing. It's more of a protracted, ongoing effort. And what that effort is, which I've been doing basically since 2008, which is when I joined NASA Ames, is to enable a mission to image Earth-like planets and find life on them. And when I started,
not too shabby.
when I started at NASA Ames in 2008, and actually I was working on this project even before that, since 2005, that mission was called the Terrestrial Planet Finder. And it was developed for a bit, or studied for a bit, and then eventually indefinitely delayed, like in 2009 or 2010 or something like that, which was essentially a euphemism for canceled. And then people continued advocating for it and developing technology for it. And just a few years ago, it was selected to restart its development, or start, because it's been
You were pretty
for
early.
such, yes. And now it's called the Habitable Worlds Observatory, HWO. So my favorite thing that I've, the thing that I'm most proud of, perhaps, that I've done at NASA Ames is advocate for that mission and continue the development of technology for that mission through the years. So that's and now, which brings me to what I actually do. So I work on technologies to block stars so you can see planets around them. And these technologies are called under the umbrella term coronagraph. The reason it's called a coronagraph is because it's derived from an instrument to block the sun, our sun, so you can see the corona. And you can use the same kinds of technologies to block other stars, and you can't see the corona around other stars, but you can see planets orbiting other stars. And then you can study those planets for signs of life. So
biomarkers.
That's right, like oxygen and methane and all of that. So
flying saucers in the air, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Right. And so that's my answer to that. I can go in a lot more detail, but I don't want to.
Yeah, no, we'll be talking. And Orkan, I'm guessing New Horizons is going to be your favorite, but if it's not,
but I want to again reflect what Russ said, is that for me, and it's kind of an ongoing thing for me. It's not just New Horizons, but being in mission design. Actually, I loved the process of that, because you have to sort of consider. Not sort of, you have to consider these science objectives, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to pack as big a punch into this small, well, relatively constrained set of instruments, trajectories, and so it involves a lot of creativity, going everything from designing a mission sequence, observational sequence, to making the science case. And then being part of the actual execution of the mission was something that, I backed into this. I originally came in mostly like an academic who came in from the university system. And then it was only about 12 years or so where I kind of got, it was just kind of dumb luck. I got involved with, seriously, it was, they needed somebody. New Horizons needed somebody with my skill base to basically play pinch hitter, during the mission.
Nice.
And that's because as an applied mathematician, I'm like, well, okay, I know how to solve that problem, and I can write a code, and I could or come up with a mathematical framework to deal with things or just jump in. And so that was kind of my introduction to it. I had always wanted to be part of this thing, but I had long ago sort of never going to happen. It was kind of dumb luck. But then being part of this and then being in the middle of it, and I felt like, oh my God, I found my home finally.
Nice.
Being in a mission, it's so much like being, like how it's depicted in Star Trek. I'm not trying to be flip about it. It is that you have all these people with all this skill base, and we're all kind of focused on this one aim and mission or series of them. And everyone is working together and able to cover each other and to do each other's job if need be, was being like on a ship, right? On the open seas, or,
Starship.
or in the local galactic neighborhood kind of thing,
Well, there's a long-standing mutual love affair between Star Trek and NASA.
Yeah.
It goes back to the 1960s. And of course, Star Trek inspired countless scientists and astronauts. And
present company included.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, and science fiction writers, present company.
Totally.
Included.
And, they say, oh, it's the common denominator of sci-fi. It's like, well, I mean, yeah, but you know what? You walk into the halls of a mission headquarters or just anything that's related to that in the NASA setting. And it goes without saying. I mean, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it's good. Despite all of the political stuff that we're hearing, people really hold on. And so that, to me, that was the big, like, oh, I found a home. And so
That's
for
awesome.
me, yeah, so then I got involved with New Horizons, and it kind of, myself and my colleague at the time, a guy named Oliver White, who one day you should interview him too. He's a funny guy.
All right.
And we just really, it was thrive. What's the past tense of thrive?
Thrived.
Yeah, I guess.
It's a so-called weak verb.
Yes. And so that's what I did.
Should be throve.
And then for me, the best part of that was just being in the room when those first images show up, and you're like, oh my goodness, we are the first persons in the universe, well, humans, so far as we can tell, in the universe, to see this. And then, the mind just goes like, well, I have no idea what this
Were
is.
you surprised when those first images came back and there was already a Starbucks on Pluto?
No, that I was not.
I would like to point out, because we have a comment from Jeff Sturgeon, who is a remarkable artist and is the cover artist for the forthcoming B Cubed American Storm anthology. He has, in fact, done lots and lots of exoplanet art of imaginary worlds. And so I'm sure Jeff, I'd like to get Jeff on the show with you guys now that I think about it. Maybe in the future we can make that happen and discuss the interaction between art and vision of exoplanets. Because when you see a news article in the general press about something related to exoplanets, or even planetary missions or asteroid missions where we haven't got direct imaging yet of any quality, there's always an artist's interpretation on the article to draw the reader in and to make it more real. And that's huge for public engagement and also, visualizing. So speaking of art and science, one of the things I discovered as a layperson who follows this, and a science fiction writer, who mines all this stuff for information. After New Horizons left Pluto and went on to a Kuiper Belt object, which had a provisional name of Ultima Thule, and now has a new name. I can't remember the
Arrakos.
Arrakos. Thank you. We should at some point talk about why these provisional names get changed and things like that and how that all works. But that's a separate, rabbit hole. One of the scientists on New Horizons was, in fact, Brian May, the guitarist of Queen, who has a PhD in astronomy and who wrote a rock song called Ultima Thule about that Kuiper Belt object. And I was just wondering what it's like being on a NASA project with a literal rock star colleague who is writing rock music about the objects you're visiting in outer space.
Well, so to back it up, so he actually was in the room with us during the Pluto encounter as well.
Nice.
So he he had already established a relationship with Alan Stern and the other folks in the upper management of the thing. And so he was, I don't know, maybe it was PR reasons originally, but I mean, he's legit. Now he's a scientist.
Yeah. He's also a good planetary ambassador because he's a rock star. He's a literal rock star.
Yeah. So, I remember when I first met him, I was wearing my Black Sabbath T-shirt. It was like before, like.
What did he think of that?
And it's like Tony and I are really, really good friends.
Oh, that's great. Tony just got an MBA.
It was a funny moment at the time, but I mean,
hilarious.
but he's very, he's very shy.
Mm.
He is very, very, very shy. So it was one of our post-encounter regatherings of the team, and so he always sat in the room, and he would he did his work on zodiacal light. Zodiacal dust. That was his PhD that he originally started, and then of course the midlife career took over.
Sure.
And then he went back and he finished his PhD relatively recently, about like 10 or 15 years ago. His actually, it's people are going, you're making this up, but one of the people who was his PhD on his committee was a guy that I worked with at Queen Mary University. I did a postdoc there a long time ago. And it was then that he had come back and to actually submit his thesis for defense. And this guy was, anyways, it was a funny interaction because a lot of the old professors were like, this guy coming back.
Yeah.
But he's legit,
Yeah, right. Like he's one of my role models because he's two very successful careers.
Yeah, I mean, how amazing is that, right?
Right, art and science.
So, anyways, so he was there for that, and then he participated in. There was one of the mission objectives was to see if there was anything kind of coming off of Arrokoth, if it was outgassing. Any volatiles that may still live within the interior and stay resident in the interior of the body. And so it's because of his experience with that and being able to, detect faint dust. He was brought in to help kind of, flesh that story out a little bit. Turned out it wasn't really expelling anything. So.
But a negative result is a result, right?
It's a result.
That's science, right? That's one of the things scientists have to convey to the general public.
A lot of negative results are still results.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, it's still good science. All right. So let's talk about, if you guys could talk a little bit about what separates or distinguishes NASA Ames from, say, JPL or other branches of NASA, and then talk about forthcoming missions, both approved and maybe a little farther out, speculative and hopeful missions. Either one of you.
Sure. I guess I can go next. What distinguishes NASA Ames from other NASA centers? Well, NASA Ames is in Silicon Valley, obviously, and I think that it has a little bit of the Silicon Valley innovation culture compared to other NASA centers. So that's not to say that other NASA centers don't do innovation. All NASA, I'm biased here, but I think that every single NASA center is really great at innovation. But NASA Ames has a kind of a more direct connection to companies here, and also it's a smaller center, so it doesn't have as much machinery to implement large missions, but it does have a lot of people who are thinking about kind of breakthrough technologies and smaller missions, and how do we, what is the next revolutionary step in technology, and to enable the next level of performance on missions.
And you do have a cool wind tunnel for testing things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Originally, that was one of its big claims to fame. It's because of the studies of turbulence, which was originally what drew me to the place. Was that?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
I think, Orkan, you're absolutely right. It would be hard to list every single kind of distinguishing feature of Ames, but with the wind tunnel is a key one, of course. You might see it passing on 101. And Jared Isaacman, the administrator of NASA, recently had a kind of a little bit of a reorganization and rebranding of different centers, and NASA Ames is now formally the NASA Center of Innovation. Every NASA center has like a label of what it's focusing on. So, and again, every center I think does a lot of things, and but we
I would think all NASA centers innovate at some level.
That's right, of course, of course.
Go to the moon.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, to build on that, is it okay? I don't
know. Yeah, absolutely.
So from my understanding of the history of the place, because I was there when I first kind of fell into the orbit of the Space Sciences Division, and it was called something else, and they always rename things and reorganize and stuff. But we were the group that's the furthest from the center's center, our building, N245. Far away as possible, and I put all the crazies out there. I mean, I say that in a metaphorical sense, but it was about in the old days. It was the research center. It was the place where mission concepts and the science supporting the mission concepts. It was the focus in the 70s and the 80s and into the 90s. That was that we're like not quite the brains, but they were like, let's get the crazy people to think about what's the new frontier. It was that as far as the science side of things are concerned. And then in parallel, there was there's the technology side, and it had always been forefront of the technology. The big supercomputing clusters that NASA was using was originally first there. One of the main ones, the Pleiades cluster, and we use it every day and stuff. So that whole technology and the culture and was developed centered around that place. And this is again 90s, early 2000s, right? And of course, this is in the middle of the computer tech place.
And that was back when it was still surrounded by an Air Force base.
Yeah, and it was a naval Air Force base. And I remember those days that you'd see soldiers, Naval personnel kind of walking around all the time. Our center, our part was kind of cordoned off. You'd have to, although they started well, anyways. Now
I remember the first time I visited NASA Ames. It was still an active military base, and I had to, I had to go through the security and all of that.
Right.
It was for a conference, and so it was relatively easy for me to go because I just had to show, my American IDs, but the international guests had to have a more extended process.
That's still the case, and it's even worse now, as Russ will affirm. I mean, just because bringing our international guests in is it's horrible. You have to go through all this.
Yes,
and scientists are very, as a species, international, and so international collaboration. Right.
So now, for instance, where the air base personnel used to live, there's what we call outside the inner sanctum of the center, the science center itself. Now we have the USGS has moved in, taken over a large parts of that. So and then what I think there's this other Johns Hopkins, another presence there now.
Okay,
Is that right?
Well, we have several universities that we're have agreements with.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We may very well have an agreement with Johns Hopkins, but I know we have an agreement with Berkeley and University of Santa Cruz. It's just very recent.
Right.
Those are
Right.
convenient.
They all have like
Yes.
little buildings and out
Yes.
places where you can. Yeah.
Right.
So it's
Even
it's
further out than the New Horizons guys.
So Ultima Thule, if I may interject, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm being now Mr. Chaotic and my ADHD brain is taking over, so please forgive me. Ultima Thule, right, that we were talking about this issue. So, I mean, the name came up, and we could follow up on that later, but it was supposed to be far out. That's what it
Right.
really translates to. Yeah,
Yeah,
far
right.
out.
Far
right?
out, dude.
It's far out.
But it
so-
had two big chunks that were Ultima and Thule.
Yeah, and then we called it Ultima and Thule. But I think the original people should realize that the motivation for calling it that was because it was the Latin for what had been referred to back in the Roman days when they were thinking about going north, right? Far out.
Far
And
out.
then I guess people later discovered that the Nazis were using this phraseology after the fact, which is the reason ultimately why we had to change the name.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Wow,
you
I
know
had
the
no
story,
idea.
right?
No.
Yeah, there was
I mean,
some.
I like
kind
the
of-
song by Brian May.
Yes.
No, but if that's not the reason why, I mean, it's like going far out. I mean, come on, Brian
Yeah.
May is far out.
That's a hippie thing, right?
Totally.
But then, it's not the first time hippies used to drive VWs, and that was, a Nazi invention, right?
Oh man, I shouldn't have brought that up. But but there was a scandal at one point, and people were like, "Why did you choose this?" And they're asking Alan Stern. And I'm like, Alan's like, "What? No." Basically.
Yeah, right.
But
It's
then
just
he was
far
like,
out,
okay.
dude.
So that's why. Anyways, the IAU is the final determiner of names of places. So ultimately, it was going to be something that was not in our hands to decide.
That's the
So-
International Astronomical
Right.
Union.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. For exoplanets as well. They're in
Yeah.
charge of naming exoplanets.
I want to name one Bob, not because of BQ Press, just because that's a good name for a planet.
Hey,
But
Russ, sorry for speaking over you. I apologize. I was getting really
No,
frothy
no,
about
no.
matter.
No worries.
no, you guys are great. You're collaborating in the way that scientists do, and it's just I feel like we're in a coffee-fueled meeting, just talking science. This is
Right.
great. This is great. Yeah, right. Like I've got this is a NASA mug. It's a Smithsonian mug, and it's got all of the landers
Nice.
on Mars
Yes.
as on the back that my friend Jacob and Rena got me. So let's talk about forthcoming NASA Ames planetary science missions, because I'm sure people want to hear about what's next. I know Jeff wants to know what he can paint next that you guys might be exploring. So go ahead, talk. Tell me. I know some of them, but
Yeah.
I know you know more than I do.
Let's maybe start with Orkin because my stuff is exoplanetary. So we can start with planetary missions and then go
And then-
beyond the solar system.
And for viewers at home, exoplanet is just the term we use for any planet that happens to be around a sun other than our own. The exoplanets are just planets that are far away.
Yes.
Well, so I'll be a little bit of a lawyer in answering my question. I am not currently involved with any mission within Ames that is being proposed.
How about SETI Institute?
But I am a co-I on a couple of mission proposals that are coming up. There is, but that is going to be a run out of. One of them is going to be run out of JPL, but then there's this collaboration from all these folks, and it's called the Caesar, which is the mission to go land on a comet and scoop up kilograms worth of stuff and bring it back for analysis.
So you're going to go and seize her stuff? Is that the idea?
Nah. So the Caesar mission was the mission that made it to. In the last New Frontiers competition, Caesar made it to the final round and it lost out against Dragonfly. So Dragonfly is, you know, the mission that's now we know it's on its way, which is going to Titan. It's going to be a quadcopter that's going to be dropped onto the atmosphere and land on the surface, and then putter around and not putter around, but, you know, look at dune fields in the mid latitudes, equatorial zone. And
look for fish in the methane lakes, that sort of thing.
Well, that's the interesting thing. So all the methane and the methane lake stuff is all kind of in the northern, towards the polar regions. This is the area where it's mostly full of it's windy and it's full of sand dunes. But many of these craters are locations where if we dig in, or if we examine at the right locations, we might see exposed water ice. And so they're looking for biomarkers because it's, you know, it's organic carbon rich environment. So that's the Dragonfly, and I'm kind of in an advisory mode. I work with many of the scientists there, and I use some of my modeling to help them decide like what places you might want to zoom in on, you know, if you're looking for certain things, because I do a lot of modeling of dunes and how they, you know, propagate across the surface and stuff like that.
Mathematical model.
Yeah, it's very mathy, but it's, you know, I do these simulations and I design them and then I run them, and then we try to make them as realistic as possible to, you know, get a sense for, you know, how they're moving across lifetime of the dune ridges and so far. Because if you're like, hey, we want to go there, and then, you know, you have an image and you're like, well, how quickly do we need to get down there and look at that before it gets covered up, let's say, by, you know, propagating dune and stuff like that. So we have to worry about those kinds of details. So, but that's that side of it, the Caesar. And then, yeah, I'm involved in a couple of other things I can't really talk about right now, but it's not that it's classified, but we're going to, it's because with NASA, and I'll make this quick, Russ. I don't want
to space lasers, isn't it? It's
yeah, well, no, definitely not. NASA will put out what they call AOs, announcements of opportunities, and that is essentially the declaration is like, okay, now your mission proposals can be revealed to the public. We are going to solicit proposals for missions for this particular program. And then once that is done, once that's announced, then people start, you know, pulling together. They've already been planning for the mission. Then you can kind of publicly release it. And until then, you got to kind of keep things a little mum. But it's outer solar system related stuff. And then the other thing is that our group is going to be very much involved with at NASA Ames. We have a thing called the Outer Planets Research Group, the Ames Outer Planets Research Group. And part of our remit that comes from headquarters is to prepare mission science justifications for a Uranus orbiter probe mission, which is in one of the top priorities in on the NASA side of things. The what's called decadal survey, which is a survey that comes out every 10 years, and it surveys the entire community, and they come up with priorities for you know, the community, including NASA missions. So they recommend, and of course, top of the list is a flagship mission like the Clipper mission to go to Uranus. And so we are definitely involved neck deep in doing science work, supporting, making cases for the going there. And it's not just, I mean, Uranus is amazing, but we want to understand also the origin of the moon system, because that's an insight into how that whole system came to be in the first place. You know, it's tipped over, it's weird.
And it's got rings, which
and it's got rings
covered when I was a kid.
And it's got rings that appear to be being formed and destroyed on a regular time basis. So these the rings materials are there, and they coalesce into moons for a while, and then they run into some other moon that also coalesce nearby, and they break apart again. And it's this formation and destruction cycle that appears to have been going on since the beginning of that system's history. So these are all proposals and hypotheses, and we want to go there. We definitely want to understand that's just weird, you know. Anyway, so that's me, but I just want to link to Russ's stuff. So the Habitable Worlds Observatory is such an amazing thing, and they're going to talk more about it. But I have also interest on that from the formation side of things, because we definitely want understanding how planets form and stuff is our input in terms of the hypotheses that need to be tested are things that are motivated by the fact that we have this new thing that's coming up, right? And
Yep.
in terms, and we'll be able to start testing these ideas. So
Russ,
my story.
Yeah, nice. Russ, can you, in the process of talking about that, also talk to our audience about what a protoplanetary disk is and what a planetesimal is? Because those were mentioned, I think, in Orkan's bio, but there are things I know, but the general audience might not, you know, be aware of the standard model of planetary formation.
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that planetary systems form, like ours, but also trillions of ones in our galaxy, is like this. You start with a basically cloud of molecular gas and dust, and that cloud shrinks due to gravity to form a star. But because nothing in the universe is ever zero, the spin of that cloud is also non-zero, and as it shrinks, it speeds up. The spin speeds up, just like a figure skater speeds up as if they pull their arms close together. And as things speed up, they flatten like a pizza pie. So
in my youth in New York, I used to be fascinated by the guys spinning the pizza and tossing
exactly, yes. So you can imagine this big gas molecular cloud shrinking due to gravity and spinning up into a disk. The center forms into a star. The other stuff forms into what's called a protoplanetary disk. Proto means before, and this disk has it's literally a bunch of gas and dust, and due to gravity, little clumps grow into larger clumps. They attract more dust and they grow into larger clumps. And we call these clumps, once they reach a certain size, planetesimals. And these planetesimals then grow into planets. And these planets, they clear up all the dust in their region until all the dust is cleared up. And what remains in the end are planets and asteroid belts, and Kuiper belts, which is basically like an asteroid belt that's beyond the orbit of Pluto, which is Orkan has a lot to do with Orkan is studying. So that's basically what a protoplanetary disk is, and the planetesimals are.
Can you tell us what the difference is between a planetesimal, an asteroid, and a comet?
Yeah, so Orkan is probably knows more about this than I do, so please correct me.
But in principle, very little.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, some of the asteroids that we know of course, they were formed closer into the to the star. So if it was retaining any what we call hypervolatiles, things that boil off really easy, like, you know, solid methane and nitrogen and whatnot, even CO2, those are long gone from those bodies. And so they're kind of like the dried out husks of silicon and iron bits that form that you know, that planetesimal. But if that planetesimal, let's say we're looking at it far out, like in the Kuiper belt or even Oort cloud, even
Ultima Thule, far out.
Yeah, exactly. So some of those guys, and excuse the anthropomorphization, they will more likely retain their hypervolatiles. And so comets are thought to be these planetesimals that were far out, and somehow because of gravitational interactions, when they scatter off of another body out there, get focused into the inner solar system. And if they're still retaining their volatile content, now they're coming into And then the sun is now starting to cook those things off, and which is when it cooks it off, gas and dust is being flung out, and that's what makes the spectacle that we see and we call as a comet. I mean, that's kind of the overarching picture. And by the way, like next week, there's going to be a big conference, asteroids, comets, and I forgot the ACM conference, asteroid, comets, and meteorites. And so this is of big interest because it's the capsule. They're like the little time capsules of what happened during this protoplanetary disk stage that Russ just discussed. And we really want to understand, like, how did this happen? You know, forming the planetesimals themselves is tricky. Getting the 100-kilometer sized bodies, and they're the linchpin for the whole story. Because once you get those bodies formed, then they start to run into each other and they glom onto each other. But getting to that size is still a mystery. And how we get there from, say, centimeter-sized bodies, like grains, to 100 kilometers, like 5 orders of magnitude or maybe 7 orders of magnitude difference.
Yeah.
How you get there? Well, we're working on that.
Sounds like we need to land on Ceres and have a look.
Yeah, and also,
or go to Caesar and take a big chunk of its surface material out. And so the aim is to go and land and take bits that have been least processed, the stuff that has been, the most pristine.
Right.
So
now, Caesar is a near-Earth asteroid, or where is Caesar?
So it depends on when the AO is announced, going to be announced. But and sorry, Russ, I don't mean to overtake your things. I want to hear
worries.
More. But
we'll get to Russ in a moment. Yes.
It depends on when we are able to launch. If the original plan was to go back to this comet called CG60, I can't pronounce it, but I know Russ can because it's in Russian. Churyumov, Gurikensko.
Yes. Let me look up the exact spelling.
Yeah, because I can't say it.
Right.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who has trouble with some of these astronomical names.
So this body had been visited by a previous mission, a Japanese mission. And so we are going to go back to it. And
by the way, it's Churyumov Gerasimenko.
Thank you. Like he
Bravo.
said.
Yeah. All right. So, Russ, can you talk a little bit about the planet finder?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So, and you asked about NASA Ames's involvement. So, NASA has a lot of missions to explore planets, exoplanets, which are planets outside the solar systems, and disks, protoplanetary disks, which is, as Orkan was saying, they're intimately related. And so NASA Ames has been involved with almost all, I would say, of NASA's exoplanet missions, starting with Kepler in 2009, which found thousands of exoplanets, and I think more than half of the planets that are currently found were by the Kepler mission. So we now know of over 6,000 planets outside our solar system, and there are probably trillions of planets outside our solar system.
And just the Milky Way.
Yes. Sorry. In our I misspoke. In our galaxy, and we just got the tip of the iceberg of those planets, a few thousand. So anyway, NASA Ames has led the Kepler mission, and it's also involved with the so-called TESS mission. And TESS
stands for.
Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite. And TESS has recently released something like 7,000 exoplanet candidates. So the number of exoplanets that humanity knows about is soon to be doubled. And the next mission to open the pinata of exoplanets will probably be the Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope, which is a a flagship mission, like the James Webb. It's the next flagship after James Webb, to be launched on August 30th this year. Very close. And actually, it's launching ahead of schedule. Like it's on budget and ahead of schedule.
What?
So,
Yeah.
yes.
All those people who think only
What?
corporations can
Something
go on
must be
schedule.
wrong.
Yes.
They'll
Budget.
Yes.
say. Could
So,
it be? A
yeah,
NASA
after the-
mission on budget?
The government doing something on budget and under budget on schedule. That's beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So we're very happy about that. And it's going to use a special exoplanet finding technique called microlensing, where you use the gravitational bending of light to infer planet existence. And it's expected to find something like 100,000 exoplanets. In fact, there's a Moore's law, a kind of Moore's law for exoplanet discoveries, where number of exoplanets discovered doubles every 2 to 3 years. It's called Mamajek's law. So, and missions like TESS and Roman Space Telescope are going to continue that. And then so NASA Ames is involved with Roman in various ways. My group in particular has a mode on the Roman coronagraph where it could see planets orbiting binary star systems like Alpha Centauri. And then beyond that,
binary, folks, means 2 stars in the solar system.
Yes. And Alpha Centauri, by the way, is technically speaking triple star system, but it's a binary with respect to sun-like stars. The third star of Alpha Centauri is not a sun-like star. You know all about that.
Red dwarf.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cliff. And then the next flagship after the Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope is called the Habitable Worlds Observatory. Development on that has started. The primary science objective of the Habitable Worlds Observatory is to detect and something like 25 Earth-like exoplanets and search them for signs of life. But it will also do amazing science in other respects, like disks that Orkan was mentioning, and also non-exoplanetary science. It's a general purpose telescope, like all flagships are. But I think we're all at NASA Ames and the community is super excited about the prospects of Habitable Worlds Observatory finding life outside the solar system and answering the question of whether we are alone in the universe.
Which is also the question of the SETI Institute at Mountain View.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
All righty. Yeah. So last, I think we're getting on the hour. So I'm going to ask you for last comments and then turn it over to Bob. So my suggestion for last comments is talk about life in outer space.
Life in outer space.
Yes.
So I have a lot to say about that.
So let me just say this. Yes, why not? I'll leave it to the expert here.
Life on Earth, I think it's one of humanity's most profound questions, obviously. We have, humans have been asking whether we are alone for thousands of years, maybe even hundreds of thousands of years. And it's in our nature to wonder what's beyond the horizon and if what might be there, and if there's life, or if there's another tribe, or what's out there if we're alone. And the amazing thing is that it's in our generation that we stand on. We can finally answer this question, and it'll still take a couple of decades probably, but we stand on the verge of being able to answer that question. So I think we're lucky and privileged to live in a time where this monumental question will be answered. And also, I think it's so exciting and inspirational. It's like what gets me up in the morning is the idea that humans are doing these things, and humans are humans can be terrible but humans can also be awesome. And this is part of how humans are awesome. And going back to the moon and Mars is also part of that. And it makes me inspired to and happy about humanity and inspired to also help solve challenges on Earth. So being optimistic about the future and finding life and doing all these other great things, I think is necessary to give us the fortitude to solve the problems on Earth.
Yeah, that's a good way to end the hour. Thank you.
Can I add one thing to that?
Yeah, go
Just
for it.
remember Carl Sagan's words about how amazing, humans can be, and that, we are the universe trying to understand itself. I love that line that he puts at the very end of the series. Is the last episode of the series when he wraps it up. And this
Cosmos.
is
Yeah.
And that's, so all the rotten things that we do, like you said, we're also pretty amazing, and let's kind of let's underscore more of that as we move forward.
Agreed.
Yeah. Well, so
100%.
I would like to thank our guests for spending an hour with us, especially on Father's Day, away from their kids for an hour. And I would like to thank our live studio audience for doing the same, and our future viewers. I hope you find this an enjoyable show whenever and wherever you're watching it. Bob, do you want to do some final comments? You mentioned Scott's Planet, which is in fact a recent book about an exoplanet, and we have a forthcoming book a little bit more on our planet, the American Storm.
Well, I tell you what, every time I want to talk about American Storm, I get depressed, because when the biggest news story I saw on Facebook is that one of our president's son has challenged another president's son to a cage match, yeah.
So what I was thinking earlier, when planetary systems form, there's a cloud of dust, gravity makes it more dense, and then there's a protoplanetary disk, and then they get more dense and become planets, and when they reach maximum density, they get us.
Yeah, no, I tell you guys, I love what you do. You get to look at the future, the possibilities, the probabilities. Because I can remember how much fun I mentioned Scott's Planet. I did a few weeks worth of research in y'all's world, looking at exoplanet things to try and make a decent planet to write about. And it was fun. That's the joy of science fiction, is imagining what could be when you've got brilliant people like yourselves have gone out there and established frameworks that we can work in, balconies we can stand on and lean against the guardrails and look out and say, what could be if this is so? It's joyful. And so thank you guys.
I think it works both ways, Bob. Thank you, because
Yeah.
I think science fiction is necessary for us to imagine things, what things could be. And without imagining what things could be, we would not know how to do research or what direction to do research into.
Or where our minds might want to wander and ask the question, well, Matt, is that possible?
Yes.
Why not? That's kind of how that's this exchange, synergistic exchange, between the both communities. It's so central. And I wanted to add about space art. Chesley Bonestall was a famous, as some of you know, and he had this imagining of of what Pluto would look like. It's a famous painting of his. Cliff's seen the image that I've shown that's in my talks before. And then when you look at the pictures that came back from New Horizons, and it's uncanny how well he had imagined this place to look like from a certain vantage point. That he had this idea that he imagined liquid nitrogen seas, but it turns out it was like a liquid nitrogen, a solid nitrogen, but still a sea. And the view he put was so much like what we saw. And, and this is what, I don't know, 70 years before, we actually reached the place. And it's just, so that also, it's not like, oh, it was so predictive, but it was also, wow, we are informing each other in many
Yes.
ways how to
Yeah.
think about and what to look for and stuff
And
like
Cliff
that.
predicted a planet on Proxima Centauri before it was discovered.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
But I wrote about the one, once we knew about it, I wrote that story.
Yes, yes.
Right.
But I
And
remember you
also-
talking about it before
Yeah.
it was discovered.
Right. But after I wrote the story after, and then Orkan knows that I wrote a Pluto story
Yeah.
right before the flyby. I knew the
Right.
flyby was happening, but the deadline for the anthology was sooner. So I was very hand wavy about what Pluto would be like. I didn't talk too much about it, but Orkan read that and liked it. So
Yes.
and Russ read my Proxima Centauri story and liked that. So that was nice to have a little bit of feedback from genuine NASA planetary scientists on my science fiction. Yeah, and I'll also say one of my favorite paintings by the late great Frank Kelly Freese was a satellite outside of orbiting Jupiter, and he painted Jupiter's clouds right before the Voyager flyby, and he got it right, like really, really right. And he said he was thrilled when he saw the first images come from Voyager from Jupiter, and he realized that his painting was pretty much accurate. So that's another, like, a Chesley Bonestell moment there. Yeah. And the Chesley Awards in science fiction art are, of course, named for him. And
Yes, of course.
Because of all that space art. And like we said earlier, Jeff Sturgeon, who is part of the B-Cube community, has done cover art for us multiple occasions, is wonderfully skilled artist, and he focuses a lot on exoplanet imaginings. So check him out. Alrighty, Bob, any more things you want to say to our
there's lots of things I want to say. You have no idea. See, Cliff didn't mention that, but we had I had messed up my schedule. This was going to be, Bob's Sunday school.
That's next month.
But so I will enjoy inviting all of you. But now I can't make fun of Netanyahu on Father's Day.
Oh, well.
Well, it's okay. I'll make fun of Netanyahu. Anybody who wants to understand Netanyahu, read the Bible. There's plenty of horrible things in there that will describe what the leadership is capable of, especially when they think they got God telling them what to do. But
there's also some really terrific examples of terrible parenting in the Bible.
Terrible what?
Yes.
Parenting.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Bad
parenting.
Yeah. Well, let's not pick on Lot too much. The man had some serious judgment calls. I'm looking for a place to raise my family. I hear this Sodom and Gomorrah. They're pretty. Are they nice towns?
Very welcoming.
Yeah, very welcoming. Yeah. It's all fun, and you just gotta love it. I have to say, guys, when it does happen, it's going to I do get to do it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'll even try to minimize the number of times I offend anybody.
That'll be a first.
Yeah, okay. I didn't think you guys would believe me. But,
what's the fun of podcasts then?
If you can't offend people, exactly what he said.
Yeah. Maybe I was going to say
this podcast has offended every creationist on Earth, not to mention the flat earthers.
But they know sarcasm, and no, it is a fun world, and I'd like to remind you guys that next week is the last Sunday, and that is the last Sunday is where we have David Gerald and
Jim Wright.
Jim who?
Right. Not
right.
wrong.
Yeah,
right. You're bloody well right.
Uh, it's going to be fun. I mean, two of the most sarcastic individuals I know of on the planet, and I
Plus the Star
swear
Trek connection.
I am still surprised that ICE hasn't determined that David Gerald is actually an illegal alien and sent him back to Tau Ceti. And but it is he is a pleasure to have on, and he has been an unequivocal defender of common sense. And you guys, I sat here and listened, and you might have noticed I didn't make much in the way of comments. It is a pleasure listening to you two talk, and
Thank you
visit.
for being
And
so welcoming. Appreciate it.
oh, we can't get
Pleasure
over
being
that.
here.
We just do it. We ought to have you on one time and do a special show of ask the experts for science fiction writers who um, need to know things.
That would be fun.
Sure, yeah.
I'd do that.
Yeah,
A lot of fun stuff.
Get
there.
into that. We could,
Yeah.
could have a
Yeah.
reprise.
and you
Yeah.
could explain to them that, well, yes, and I'll leave it to you to explain shrink off radiation to them.
Shrink off.
Shrink off.
No,
Cherenko.
I know.
Cherenko.
I
Yeah.
don't hear so good.
Though I heard the same thing, or
Hey, I saw I got an accent.
it's
blue.
radiation that makes you very small.
Yeah.
You shrink.
But I was just saying, I was just spending more of my time trying to. It blew me away when we started talking about exceeding the speed of light and excess energy dumping, and it makes water look blue. Okay. And so I realized I need scientists. So take care, guys, and we're glad to have you on board. And now I'm going to punch the end stream button.